هناك مسائل عديدة جدا.
أنه يجوز إعطاء الزكاة لصنف الله،
لأن رسالة محمد عليه الصلاة والسلام خاتمة.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أما بعد، يسرني أن أقدم الحلقة 14 من مقرر اللغة الإنجليزية لطلاب وطالبات قسم الدعوة المستوى الثاني، وكذلك لطلاب وطالبات قسم الشريعة المستوى الرابع. في هذه الحلقة in this session I'm going to remind you with something that we studied before. If you remember that when we talked about the comparative adjectives. Here, since we are going to deal with something like similarities, then we need to put in mind what we have mentioned before, which is the comparative adjectives. And I want to remind you that in forming the comparative adjectives, we count the syllables, if you remember, where we say that if we have one syllable, then we add er. If the two syllables and they end with y, we change the y into I, and then we add er. And if we have more than three syllables, then we use more, and we keep the adjective as it is, like for example expensive. If we want to compare, we say that more expensive. And I remind you that we need to use than before after the comparative adjectives. Now just we want to go over the exercise just to practice the comparative adjectives, and according to what I just mentioned, which is the counting the syllables, and whether we use er or change y into ier, or more plus adjectives plus the than. Let's go to page 118 and we do this exercise. Just what I want to emphasize in here, in fact, is just to know how to form the adjectives. Here we have the words fast. How can we compare this if we have one person fast and the other one fast? Two, but one is faster than the other. So we say, for example, Ali is faster than Ahmed. Or if we want to follow the example that in here, we say that which is faster, driving a car or walking. So we say driving a car is faster than walking. Cheap. Why don't we just use our own words? We choose between two things and then we use cheap. So the comparative will be this material is cheaper. Cheap is one syllable, so just reminding you. So cheaper than the other material. Convenient, this is more than two syllables, then we use more. Then we say that more convenient than. Fun, this is the word, one of the exceptions, in fact, I didn't mention before, but since it comes, then fun is one of the exceptions that we use more fun than, and we use the other noun. Dangerous is clear that it has more than two syllables, then we say that more dangerous than. Quiet is quiet, it's one syllable, then quieter. And then we have to say quieter than. And we have healthy, it is healthier, And in here, I remind you that we change the I and the Y in healthy into I, because we have the Y preceded يعني سبقت بconsonant, and we talked, I think, about consonants and vowels. And we have the number 8, the last thing, relaxing. We say that more relaxing. So we are dealing to some extent with adjectives, with comparison, and now, in fact, we are moving to new rules about how can we say things where they are the same. In fact, we need this kind of styles in our writing. So instead of just use one monotonous, boring style, so we might change our sentences. Then the variation of the sentences, I think, is good. So on page 119, let's go into the show and we see the rules. So I make them straightforward. Rules for writing about similarities, showing things that are similar. So when we have, it's a little bit different from comparative adjectives, where there is one thing is more or expensive, or so there is similarities, but one is different from the other, whether the up or down. Here, similarities, in fact, both of them are the same. Let's look at this example in here. In fact, we are going to deal with in similarities. We have either we start with the verb be, which is and was and were and am and were and yes and where, and the other verb that we will come to this. But when the comparison comes with be. So, for example, we have the example, Riyadh is beautiful, and we have here Jeddah is beautiful. So we have two separate sentences, and we want to put them in one sentence or one form. So this is the format that we are going to follow, which is we can say Riyadh is beautiful and so is Jeddah. So this is the form. Riyadh is beautiful and so is Jeddah. So this sentence, in fact, is exactly the same as the sentence before, but in here we put the sentences together and to show the similarity between Riyadh and Jeddah according to the beauty. Look at the second example. We have the second form, which is Riyadh is beautiful and Jeddah is too. So here we didn't mention that Riyadh is beautiful and Jeddah is beautiful too. We say that Riyadh is beautiful and Jeddah is too. So these are the two forms. We need to, in fact, really understand how we form these things. As you see that the second part, when we go to Riyadh is beautiful and so is Jeddah, so we see that the subject is put at the end and we start with so is. So the form is and so is, and we use the noun that we are comparing with the first noun according to the similarity between these two, or we use the same format, the same structure. Riyadh is beautiful and Jeddah is. We add just two. It means أيضا. So this is the form when we use to. Mostly that we don't have the action verbs in here. And then let's go to the other verbs. So we have either use the verb to be, or we use other verbs regardless what the verb is. So with other verbs, we say that Riyadh has many malls, Jeddah has many malls. So we have two separate sentences, but they are the same. They have the same content. The difference between the first sentence that we just mentioned and this one, the first one we used verb to be, but here we use other verbs. We'll have more examples in here and we'll find out how things will work. Okay, so how can we use the similarities with other verbs than the verb to be? Here we have Riyadh has many malls and so does Jeddah. You see the difference? When we say that, I remind you, when we say that Riyadh is beautiful and so is Jeddah, here we say Riyadh has many malls and so does Jeddah. In fact, we use does when we use third person singular, الشخص يعني الغائب المفرد. So we use does. This is one of the forms that and so does, and we add the noun. The other form that we have, Riyadh has many malls and Jeddah has two. So something like Riyadh has many malls and Jeddah has many malls too, but we two is two shows that the two places are similar in this comparison. Let's go to the other example where we have the action verbs. We have the professors work hard and you have the students work hard. The difference between this example and the previous example, here we have plural. So we want to see what are the changes. So we have now two separate sentences. The professors work hard, period, and the students work hard. You see, we have two separate sentences. So how can we make the similarity? Let's look at this example. We say that the professors work hard and so do the students. The professors work hard and so do the students. I remind you that in the previous we said that Jeddah and so does Jeddah, because that one singular, and here we have plural. Singular المفرد الغائب does, it goes with المفرد الغائب, and do it goes with other nouns or pronouns. Okay, so the example in here, the first example that we compare two things while we are talking about the plural, الجمع. The professors work hard and so do the students. Do we have other example that we make the similarities? Let's look at this example. The professors work hard and the students do too. This is the if you look at this example and the previous example when we talked compared Jeddah with Riyadh, especially when we talked about the malls, I think you will see that the examples are clear and we can apply these in our writing in the style where we want to show others that we are using different styles, not the monotonous. You know, the word monotonous يعني boring, يعني اسلوب يعني ممل رتيب. So this one, the other example we have, the professors work hard and the students do too. And the example the example before this, we say that the professors work hard and so do the students. The other one, I repeat this again because it is important to understand these before we go to the examples in the book. The professors work hard and the students do 2. Here, let's go to the book. Open the book on page 119, and let's work together and find out how can we solve these problems. It seems to me that I don't want to answer all these, but just we take one or two examples of these, and so if the idea or the concept is clear, then do the rest and try to learn this to apply what you are learning in your life. Let's read the example number 1 on page 119. The streets in Taipei are busy. The streets in Los Angeles are busy. You see that we have two places where they have the same thing or the same problem. So how can we use them in the two forms? The streets in Taipei are busy, and the streets in Los Angeles are too. So this is the first form where we use everything the same, but we use to and we drop the similarity. The other example that we have here, the streets in Taipei are busy, and so are the streets in Los Angeles. You see that this example represents the verb to be form, as you see. Let's go to another example that we have. Okay, let's go to number 2, and then we move to the third example where we have the similarities with other verbs than verb to be. Number 2, the traffic in Taipei is sometimes heavy. The traffic in Los Angeles is sometimes heavy. So it will be the traffic in Taipei is sometimes heavy, and the traffic in Los Angeles is too. I repeat this again, where we use to at the end of the sentence. When we compare, we say that the traffic in Taipei is sometimes heavy, and the traffic in Los Angeles is too. The other form that we use and so, and we use the verb, this is the form, it will be in B, like, okay, we'll read this. Traffic in Taipei is sometimes heavy, and so is the traffic in Los Angeles. I repeat this again. In B, the traffic in Taipei is sometimes heavy, and so is the traffic in Los Angeles. Let's find an example where we have the similarity with other verbs than the verb to be. Let's move to number 4. Number 4 says traffic in Taipei often moves slowly. Traffic in Los Angeles often moves slowly. So the first one is going to be the traffic in Taipei is often moves slowly, and the traffic in Los Angeles does too. We use does, even though the traffic sometimes it sounds like plural, but in fact traffic is singular. So this example, I repeat this example, traffic in Taipei often moves slowly, and the traffic in Los Angeles does too. This is where we use to. And the other example that we mentioned before, traffic in Taipei, this is B, 4B. Traffic in Taipei is traffic in Taipei often moves slowly, and so does traffic in Los Angeles. So the other form, and so does traffic in Los Angeles. I think these two examples are enough to have the concept in addition to the examples that I gave you in the slides in the PowerPoint. So I hope that this the use of the similarities between two things we have. So as you see that we have three forms. Either we write sentences separate, like the traffic in Los Angeles is heavy, period, يعني نقطة. The traffic in Taipei is heavy. So these are, we want, in writing, in the style in writing, we put these together. Now we need to move to your own on the writing. Let's read together and find out how can we make this kind of comparison. So we have topics we can choose from. One of them, write a letter to a local government. I hope that you know how to write the letter. Tell the officials, يعني مسؤولين, about the specific traffic problems in your town or city. So now what you can do, that when you move out or you go and find some of the problems in the traffic, so write these problems so to an official, يعني مسؤول, in the traffic department. In addition, suggest a solution. So when you write the problems that you have, suggest the solutions, as you remember in the memo that we talked about. So this is one of the things. The reason for this writing, at least to express yourself in writing, and to find out whether you can express yourselves or you have problems, and you can work on this, but at least the problem that you feel that you are annoyed by this one. This is one of the writing. So write the letter. And the other thing, that which do you prefer, taking a car or public transportation? And this is one of the issues that I hope that you like to compare, which is better. Sometimes you want to use the car, but you don't find parking areas. Sometimes you have the transportation, but maybe you have something. So now in this, so we have taking the car or using the public transportation, يعني الباصات أو other public transportation. Now what you want to compare, taking the car or taking the public transportation, so and give the reason that you want. For example, you want to take the car or you want to use the public transportation, one of these. So just give logical reason for these. And the third one, it says, does traffic change your daily life in any way? This is really a good question, and sometimes the traffic changes our daily life while we don't know. But really I want you to think about this and how traffic changes your life, whether in good way or in a bad way. Write a paragraph about how traffic changes your life. I will suggest some of these solutions or things that you need to think about. Sometimes you want to go shopping in a specific time, and then you change the time just because it's a traffic jam or the place is crowded at this hour, so you change. Sometimes you move from the place or the house that you are in, even though that you are the owner. يعني حتى لو كان البيت ملكك, you might sell the house and move to the place near your work and buy another house in there or rent a house in there. So we are affected by traffic. In fact, this is one of the things. And the field work, what is the solution? Here in the field work, that find out what is the traffic problem, what is the solution, and how does the solution help the city. So yes, if you want to work on this and just talk about this with officials, with people, and find out the answers from them, and think about it and form it right, the conclusion or what you reached, and put it in a paragraph as a solution for the problem of traffic and traffic problems. And by the end of this session, I hope that we see you next time with a new session. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
هناك مسائل عديدة جدا.
أنه يجوز إعطاء الزكاة لصنف واحد،
لأن رسالة محمد عليه الصلاة والسلام خاتمة.